Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Ibrahim and this is my video for my major project for ENG 1021. And the problem which I am trying to solve with my major project is to create a tool for scientific discovery. And the tool which I decided to create is the robotic arm. And as science grows ever so more, our research methods and methods of experimentations get more complicated, more rigorous, and need to be more precise. So that is why I decided to create a robotic arm. It can repeat rigorous tasks with high precisions many times, and you can program it to practically do whatever you want. And so this is my robotic arm. And as you can see, the robotic arm has 2 points of movement and it has a gripper which can open and close. Originally, the robotic arm was supposed to have a base, as you can see right here, so it can also rotate. But my motor do not have enough torque to support the whole weight of the robotic arm, so I decided to remove that for this. And originally, my robotic arm was supposed to be controlled by 4 potentiometers, each potentiometer moving its individual motor, but the system would not work. And by testing individual components and by putting them together, I found out that my components were fine. It's just that my battery could not supply enough current to the system to actually power it. So instead, I decided to create a Java application using JSlider to control my robotic arm. Moving on, I 3D modeled each of the parts in Fusion 360. All these parts were modeled individually and then I put them together here in Fusion 360. However, this gripper is not my design. This design I got from Thingiverse, which is a website where users share their design for other people to use. The user who created this design goes by the name of Lint Squid on Thingiverse. And even for these designs, I had to go through many iterations to get them right. As you can see that this was my first iteration of the base. It was good, however, it was weak in certain areas and it broke. So it could not hold the motor properly. So I had to redesign it and then I got a much stronger base, which is right here. Okay, so talking about my code, this is my main class, my major project class. Here I initialize my device and initialize my objects from the other classes I created. For the motor object, I give it the pins of the motor I'm going to use and my Arduino device. And to see what happens in the motor class is pretty simple. It initializes the motors and it has 4 functions for each of the motor, where if you call this function and give it a value, it will move the motor to that value. And going to my slider functions, it uses JPanel, JSerial, and JSliders. And here I'm initializing them to have like specific values, colors, and lengths. But the real code is here, where if the slider is changed, and here I check if to see which slider was changed, I call the motor function and move the motors. And the same thing happens in the other one. Here is my servo testing file where I tested my motors. I also used system.out.print to test my sliders to see if they would actually give me an input. Originally though, I was supposed to use potentiometers, and here I have the code for the potentiometers, which is basically the same as the sliders but uses a vent listener to see if the potentiometers have been changed. And here I see which potentiometer has been changed, and then I move the motor that way. So now actually running my program, as you can see, I get these 2 sliders. And these sliders are used to control the robotic arm. As you can see that the robotic arm has 180 degrees of motion. And you can move the top as well. And you can open and close the claw as well with these sliders. And the claw can actually hold items if you give it to them. And then you can use these to transport the items.